Piano Classes welcomes you all. We are going to study about quadrilaterals, their properties and the different types of quadrilaterals. So to begin with, first of all, what is a quadrilateral? It is a polygon made up of 4 line segments. As you can see in the figure, any polygon, and you know that polygon is a closed figure. So a polygon which is made up of 4 line segments is known as a quadrilateral. Now, a quadrilateral has 4 sides. As you can see in the figure, if we consider this as a quadrilateral ABCD, it has 4 sides, namely, first is AB, second BC, the third side being CD, and the fourth side being DA. So these are the 4 sides of this quadrilateral ABCD. Each quadrilateral has 4 angles. So we'll see which are those 4 angles one by one. As you can see now, this angle which is shown, this is named as angle ABC. The second angle, that is named as BCD, it's angle BCD. The third angle named as angle CDA, and the fourth angle named as angle DAB. So these are the 4 angles of this quadrilateral, and the sum of 4 angles of a quadrilateral is 360 degree. The sum of all the interior angles being a quadrilateral, there are 4 interior angles. So sum of these interior angles is 360 degree. Next, the quadrilateral has 2 diagonals, namely, first is AC and the second is BD. Now, what is a diagonal? Diagonal is a line segment which joins the opposite vertices of a quadrilateral. So here there are 4 vertices in a quadrilateral, and joining the opposite ones there will be 2 line segments. So those 2 line segments are known as diagonals of the quadrilateral. Now let us know about the types of quadrilaterals, that how many types are there and what is their properties. We'll study one by one. The first among them being the trapezium. Now what is a trapezium? Of course it is a quadrilateral. It is that quadrilateral which has only one pair of opposite sides parallel. Any quadrilateral which has one opposite pair of sides parallel, that is known as trapezium. Then in the same you have isosceles trapezium. So isosceles trapezium, it is a trapezium in which the non-parallel sides, they are equal. As you can see here, the 2 non-parallel sides have been highlighted, and these 2 non-parallel sides, if they are equal, then this particular trapezium is known as an isosceles trapezium. Rest, there is no specific properties of a trapezium. So we'll move ahead with the next quadrilateral. The next quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Now what is a parallelogram? It is a quadrilateral in which both pair of opposite sides are parallel. The 2 opposite sides, as we know that in a quadrilateral there are 2 pairs of opposite sides, and if both those pairs, they are parallel to each other, then it is known as a parallelogram. Let's move towards the properties of the parallelogram. We'll discuss the properties one by one. So first being that opposite sides are parallel and equal. In a parallelogram, the opposite sides, they are not only parallel but they are also equal. The next being opposite angles are equal. As you can see, the 2 pairs of opposite angles are equal in a parallelogram. They measure they have the same measure. Then we have that adjacent angles, they are supplementary. Now what are adjacent angles? Adjacent angles are those angles which are formed on the same side or which contain the same side of the parallelogram. So here in a parallelogram, or rather in a quadrilateral, there are 4 pair of adjacent angles, and in parallelogram the adjacent angles, they are supplementary. Supplementary means the sum is 180 degree. Next, about the diagonals, though they are not equal to each other, but they bisect each other. Bisect means they divide each other into 2 equal parts. This was about parallelogram. Now let's move towards the next kind of quadrilateral, that is rhombus. So rhombus is a quadrilateral in which both pair of opposite sides, they are parallel. It is the same as it was in the parallelogram, but all sides of the rhombus, they are equal also. So what is a rhombus? It is again a quadrilateral having opposite sides parallel and all sides equal. Its properties. The properties will take one by one. So the first being that opposite sides are parallel, same as the parallelogram, but here the difference is in a parallelogram the opposite sides are equal, whereas here in rhombus the all sides are considered as equal. Not considered, they are equal. Next is the opposite angles are equal. This is the same property which was there in parallelogram also. There in parallelogram we said that opposite angles are equal. So same here in rhombus also, the opposite angles are equal. Now the next is adjacent angles are supplementary. So again it is the same property of the parallelogram. There also it was that adjacent angles are supplementary, and here also in rhombus the adjacent angles are supplementary. Diagonals again, of course, same as parallelogram, are not equal here, but the slight change which is there, that is the diagonals, they perpendicularly bisect each other. Means they are bisecting each other, same like parallelogram, but what is the difference? The difference is that they are perpendicular to each other. Both the diagonals, they form an angle of 90 degree in between them. Hence we call rhombus as a special parallelogram with all the sides being equal. Now why a special parallelogram? Because as you can see the list of the properties, they are all similar to the parallelogram except the sides. In parallelogram opposite sides are equal, whereas in rhombus all the sides are equal. And here the diagonals in rhombus, they are perpendicular to each other, whereas in parallelogram they are not perpendicular. So just these two slight changes in the properties are there, which makes the parallelogram a rhombus. Hence we call rhombus as a special parallelogram. Now let's move towards the next type of quadrilateral, that is rectangle. This is one of the quadrilateral which you have been introduced in your junior classes, in primary classes itself. So rectangle, nothing more to tell you about it. It is a quadrilateral in which the opposite sides, they are parallel and equal. The opposite sides are parallel and equal, and along with each angle being a right angle. All the angles of the rectangle, they will be 90 degree each. So this is a rectangle. The properties of the rectangle, if we talk about, of course, the first one being that opposite sides are parallel and equal. Again, you can remember that this is one of the property of the parallelogram also. The second being all angles are equal, that is they are 90 degree, they are right angles. All the 4 angles of this rectangle, they are 90 degree each. Next, diagonals are equal. So here in rectangle, the diagonals, they are equal also, and they bisect each other also. So ultimately rectangle is a special parallelogram with all angles being right angles. So you can see the difference in the rectangle and the parallelogram properties if you go through. There is only slight changes in it, that in parallelogram the opposite angles are equal, whereas in rectangle all the four angles are equal, and that too they are 90° each. Rest, the diagonals in parallelogram are not equal, whereas in rectangle they are equal. Now let us move to one of the more second most familiar quadrilateral, that is the square. So again, square is a quadrilateral in which both pair of opposite sides are parallel, all the sides are equal, and each angle is a right angle. So you can just see here it contains the properties similar to parallelograms, which says that both pair of opposite sides are parallel, all sides are equal, that is the part of rhombus, and each angle is right angle, again it is a part of a rectangle. So it includes the properties from each and every type of quadrilateral. So it is just a quadrilateral where all the sides are equal and each angle is 90° in simple words if we say about it. About the properties of the square. So regarding the properties, the first one, opposite sides they are parallel, but all the sides are equal. Not only opposite sides are parallel, but they are equal also. And the same property belongs to rhombus. Yes. Next, each angle is right angle. All the four angles of the square, they are right angles. Next, diagonals are equal. The diagonals of the this square, they are equal. Where else the diagonals are equal? In rectangle they are equal. So same is the square. Next is the diagonals bisect each other perpendicularly. Now the diagonals here, they are bisecting each other perpendicularly. So just recall it, which property, which quadrilateral has the same property? Yes, it is the rhombus which has the same property. So seeing that there are properties similar to the different parallelogram, this rhombus and rectangle, we call that square is a special parallelogram, it is a special rectangle, and it is a special rhombus. Now how it is, why it is a special parallelogram? In a parallelogram, if the adjacent sides are equal and each angle is 90°, then it becomes a square. Why a special rectangle? Because in a rectangle, if the adjacent sides become equal, or in the sense we say that all the four sides of a rectangle are equal, then it is considered to be a square. And rhombus, why a special rhombus? Rhombus already has all the four sides equal. Only the difference is each angle of a rhombus, if it is made 90°, then it is a square. Now let us move to the next type of quadrilateral, that is kite, and we'll do the properties also. So first of all, what is kite? It is a quadrilateral in which two pairs of adjacent sides are equal. In a quadrilateral, we know that how many pair of adjacent sides are there? There are four pair of adjacent sides. Out of those four pairs, two pairs of adjacent sides are equal. Then that quadrilateral is known as a kite. The next, the property of this, the diagonals, they are perpendicular to each other. The diagonals of a kite, they are perpendicular, and of course if you see in the figure, it is clear there that they are never equal, but one diagonal of the kite bisects the other. You can see there that one of the diagonal is dividing the second diagonal into two equal parts. The next property is one pair of opposite angles are equal. In a quadrilateral, there are two pair of opposite angles, but in kite, out of those two, only one pair of opposite angles are equal. So this kite. Now before leaving, just don't forget to subscribe the channel, like and share the video. Biana classes will be back with more such type of videos related to maths. Have a nice day and thank you all.